living in the city. The hustle and bustle of everyday life as people commute to and from wherever it is they need to go. And there's usually tons of places to go since everything is built so densely. You've got entertainment, businesses, restaurants, coffee shops, you name it. After all, cities are typically designed to be hubs for efficient connectivity, making it convenient for people to commute around. Well, if you're a physics-defying blue hedgehog, that is. Yeah, at least in Sonic's world, any sort of inhabitable space seems to be full of, questionable infrastructure. Bottomless pits, loop-de-loops, completely vertical ramps. And sure, in the more whimsical Green Hill type areas that are mostly inhabited by anthropomorphic animals with strange powers, I guess this makes sense. But Sonic's world also just has regular humans like us. And they live in cities, just like us. Yet these insane obstacles still exist, right in the very places they live. Especially when it comes to one of the most popular Sonic levels of all time, City Escape. This got me wondering, could someone really live in City Escape? I mean, just how practical would it be to live here? What obstacles would you have to overcome on a daily basis? Would it even be possible to walk your dog to your local park? Welcome to chaomix, and today we'll be finding out if you truly could live in City Escape. This video is made possible by today's sponsor, Fume. Trying to quit your bad habits? Why not try Fume? Instead of electronics and vapor, Fume is completely natural and uses flavored air. You've got a ton of great flavors like maple pepper, white cranberry, sparkling grapefruit, raspberry lemon, crisp mint, and my personal favorite, orange vanilla. Just pop a flavor core into your device, it's as simple as that. It comes with adjustable airflow and movable parts and magnets for fidgeting, giving your fingers a lot to do, which is helpful for de-stressing while breaking your habit. So join over 150,000 customers who have made the switch with Fume. Use the link in my description, scan the QR code, or use code chaomix for 10% off when you order the Journey Pack today. And make sure to try out the new base attachment, which doubles as a weighted stand to rest your Fume on and a nice little fidget toy. Huge thank you to Fume for sponsoring this video. City Escape is one of the most iconic Sonic levels of all time. With its constant downward slopes, long stretch of grind rails, and large open streets, it really keeps the thrill of Sonic's forward momentum going the entire time. City Escape is based on the real-life location of San Francisco, California. It's actually where Sonic Team was stationed at when making Sonic Adventure 2 in order to capture the real essence and feel of American cities and culture that they wanted to inject into their game. And yeah, they totally nailed it. You've got the sloped streets, the cable cars, the Victorian-styled architecture for the houses. Whenever I play this level, I have to do a double take just to make sure I'm not actually right there in San Francisco. It's crazy. But because this level is so based in reality, it constantly reminds me that these are places inhabited by, like, actual humans rather than Sonic characters. Which is honestly fine, I'm not against Sonic levels resembling real-life locations. Just look at the entirety of Sonic Unleashed. These levels are absolutely beautiful. But yeah, this is supposed to be a city inhabited by humans, not just strange, talking, superpowered rats. And for the most part, the design of City Escape truly does almost fool you into this illusion. I mean, look at the realistic textures and the way the streets are designed to look like actual functional infrastructure. You've got windows, doors, shops, sidewalks, stop signs, cars, parks, stairs. Yeah, these are all human things, yet there isn't a single human in sight. And I have a feeling we're about to find out why. And yeah, I know this was a game originally designed for the Sega Dreamcast. It probably didn't have the hardware power to render hundreds of humans across the streets of this level. But let's take a stroll, or at least attempt to take a stroll, and see what might be preventing people from wanting to take a walk outside in their city. So let's take a walk through City Escape and break it down play by play. We start with Sonic boarding down the open streets of City Escape. And honestly, despite what you may think, minus the deadly street-boarding rat toppling cars over, creating a lethal steel avalanche, everything actually seems pretty normal so far. Yeah, these are some pretty steep slopes, but it isn't anything out of the ordinary for San Francisco, right? I mean, I totally hate having to walk uphill anywhere here, but it's gotta be a great leg day workout though. Everyone here must have absolutely jacked legs walking all these inclines, I swear. But upon closer examination, there actually were a few things I noticed that might be an issue here. The first one was, well, damn, I know San Francisco is known for its sloped streets, but these are really steep. Like, this is straight up a 45-degree angle here. I looked it up and the steepest street in San Francisco actually goes to Bradford Street, clocking in at only 22 degrees, which maybe doesn't sound like a lot when compared to this 45-degree angle here in City Escape, but let me tell you, try walking this in real life and you'll see how absolutely brutal it is, even if it is literally only half the steepness of what we have in City Escape. Not only must this be totally inaccessible for people in wheelchairs, I'd actually argue it's barely accessible for completely able-bodied people. Imagine tripping on your shoelace here, you ain't even gonna be stopping. This is definitely a hazard, but it isn't even to mention the literal ramps in the middle of the road. Yeah, it's nice for Sonic to pull off some cool tricks and get some sick air, but like, what about the cars actually using the street to drive? This, combined with the straight up 45-degree angled streets, your car might as well be an airplane at that point. Another thing I noticed is that cars literally don't obey traffic laws here. I've been watching this intersection over here and every single car has run the stop sign. Every single one. What, do they have different traffic laws here in City Escape? So not only is crossing the street as a pedestrian a danger to your life, but even driving down the road is a deadly hazard. They say people in New York suck at driving, wait till they see the drivers here. So if we continue, normally Sonic can go past this cable car and fall to the lower level of the city. But the fact that there's an unfenced drop to the lower section of the city is kind of a huge liability. Anyone could fall down here, and they'd be stuck in this lower section that is fenced off, so you're actually just trapped here. Anyways, if you somehow manage to make it all the way down, you get to this little rest area with a few benches and a streetlight. It's a pretty nice little park, but it's also a complete dead end. There's only one way to go from here, so continuing up the stairs to the left and ignoring the deadly robot with cannons for arms, you come to an area that splits off into two paths. The path to the left leads you down via a ramp, but the area to the right leads to a strange dead end with nothing in it other than a steep fall. It seems kind of dangerous, but I guess maybe that's what this crate is here to block. But imagine walking here and falling down because you were on your phone or something. There's no fence for safety at the end like there is on the sides, it's a total hazard. But even so, I'm not really sure what the purpose of this area would be for a regular civilian. But going down the path on the left, we can see the wall transitions into a completely vertical ramp. Maybe nice for skateboarding, but not all that useful to the average person on foot. But hey, it doesn't really get in the way of anything, so I guess we can let this one slide. Turning the corner, we have another set of stairs that leads us to a nice little lounging area. We can then continue through this opening to go down another set of stairs. Alright, not too bad so far. Alright, what the heck is this? It's literally a giant ramp right at the end of the staircase. Not really sure what it'd be used for, but alright, assuming you can even get up here, there isn't much a normal person could even do. Anyways, ignoring this completely useless ramp, we can either take the stairs on the left side to get up, or... oh, that's straight up a bottomless pit in my public walkway. Great. I don't know who the mayor of this city is, but we need to get him out, because we just have a bottomless pit in the middle of our city and it isn't even fenced off in any way. Someone could just be walking, going about their day, maybe on their phone or something, and accidentally fall into this pit and die. Anyways, once we make it up, we have more streets on a huge decline and several more ramps in the middle of the road acting as a threat to public safety. Wonderful. Eventually, we make it to the end of the street, which is super weird to have a dead end like this in the middle of the city. What are cars supposed to do? Back up into busy rush hour traffic and turn around? And don't even get me started on what you need to do to continue forward on foot. Believe it or not, despite the giant wall here, this isn't a dead end. Yeah, all you have to do is take this spring which launches you 20 feet in the air to make it onto this upper path. I mean, this upper section has an entire staircase to bring you up and down, and the edge here even has a recycling bin, which implies that they expect people to walk over down here near this unguarded ledge to get rid of their trash. If we climb up these stairs, we once again make it into the streets with even more harsh declines, ramps, and dangerous intersections where people just ignore stop signs. There's then this section where cable cars return to get turned around, and a small opening with a pretty big flight of stairs. Definitely not wheelchair friendly. At the bottom, we have another one of those huge ramps that doesn't really seem to be of any use to a regular person. But the funniest part about this is that there's a recycling bin in this weird elevated fenced off area, and the fact that this recycling bin is here implies that they expect people to somehow climb up this entire ramp, jump down into this section, climb back up, and then what, roll down the ramp? Or you could just use the recycling bin at ground level. Your choice though. There's also this other weird elevated section right here, which is kind of funny because it has grass, which implies it's somehow maintained. So what, are they crane lifting a lawnmower all the way up here just to cut the grass in this one little section nobody can even use? Anyways, we can keep going and turn right to go down some more stairs to start heading towards the park section. However, the only way to actually get to it is to either jump one of these two metal fences on each side of this wall, or scale the wall by grabbing onto this pulley and being lifted up. What? Anyways, this park is actually pretty nice. It's It's got some steep hills, but it honestly seems mostly okay to walk around in if you can already deal with the 45-degree angled streets. There's a couple of ramps, but they're not really in anyone's way, so it's whatever. There's also this weird bridge section up here. It doesn't lead anywhere, but I guess it's kind of cool to overlook the park. The lack of fencing on the other side is a bit of a concern though, definitely a public safety hazard. But continuing on, we get to this next section, which curves into what I can only describe as an absolute dead end to any normal person. Because the only way to continue is to go through a literal loop-de-loop and run vertically down an extremely tall building. So yeah, I think it's safe to say this is a dead end. If you wanted to leave, you'd have to go all the way back through the park, over the fence, up the stairs, and back into the streets to your car. But what lies beyond this loop-de-loop is possibly even more baffling. If you somehow manage to make it over here, you're met with some more stairs which lead into this grass section with a huge hole in the ground, thankfully blocked off by these crates. If something happened to them though, you could totally fall in and hurt yourself. I'm not really sure how the average person would be able to get out either. It goes down pretty far and there isn't anything to really grab onto and hoist yourself back up. There's also this elevated section up here that doesn't have much use to the average person and is way too high for anyone to even jump up to. But this is where things get crazy. If we turn to the right, we're forced to commute through a complete bottomless pit. And this isn't even like the last bottomless pit, because at least that one had the option to use the stairs on the left-hand side. Oh no, this bottomless pit is the only way through to the next part of the city. And if you'll remember, turning around and going back only leads to a dead end, since we got here by going through a loop-de-loop and running down an entire building. There's no turning back after that. The only way to get out of here is to go through this bottomless pit, which has some pretty steep jumps for your average city-dwelling Joe. Not to mention that the platforms are moving the entire time. If you somehow manage to make it across without falling to your death on your way to Starbucks, you're met with another small entrance to a huge flight of stairs. And I mean absolutely huge. Sure, it only lasts for a few seconds as Sonic, but imagine walking each step one by one as a real person. This would probably take like 10 entire minutes of walking to get through, and that's just walking down. I can only imagine it would take much longer walking up due to all the breaks you'd probably have to take. Not to mention, it's extremely dangerous. Imagine if you fell down these stairs and kept tumbling. You'd definitely be in a world of hurt. This is an absolute nightmare scenario. So after you're done spending your entire lunch break just walking down these stairs, we finally get to the end and are introduced to another bottomless pit. But thankfully this time, we can bypass it by using the stairs once again. Good, because after leaping over the previous bottomless pit and walking down that entire flight of stairs, I'm sure our legs would need to break. Once we get to the top, we can see that this area is blocked off and Sonic normally needs to roll under to get through. I do kind of think that this implies that this entire section, from scaling down the huge building up until this part right here, is closed off for construction. So at least they know this part is basically uninhabitable. Good job, I guess. But if you manage to get out of here by getting through this blockade, you'll make it back into the streets. And I know this is the part where the giant 2-lane wide semi-truck tries to flatten you like a pancake during the game, but this probably isn't an everyday occurrence you'd have to worry about, at least I'd hope. But even ignoring that, we once again have a bunch of ramps in the middle of the road apparently meant to send cars launching down the streets at terminal velocity. You know, the usual. But once we get to the end, the road literally just stops. And I'm not talking about like a controlled dead end. The road literally gets cut off with a huge drop to a lower section. And it's not even like the end of the road is well blockaded. You've got a couple of fences on the sidewalks, which I guess is at least safe for pedestrians, but I'd argue the cars going 40 to 50 miles an hour down this road might need it a bit more. If you're unfortunate enough to descend down into this next area, you'll be met with a nice little hub for a cable car turnaround. But there aren't any roads here, so I'm not really sure how a cable car would get in here in the first place. But yeah, that's as much as we can explore here in City Escape. Wow, what a stroll that turned out to be. So how does City Escape rate on a livability scale from 1 to 10 in my opinion? Well, let's do a recap. We've got out of regulation street slope angles, making it nearly impossible to safely drive, park, or commute through. Ramps in the middle of the street posing as huge hazards for cars trying to use the roads. Dangerous traffic laws apparently making it illegal for cars to blow traffic signs. Nearly inaccessible routes to areas, either being impossible for the average person to reach or extremely laborious. Hazardous infrastructure such as huge cliffs without proper fencing or barricades, and deadly bottomless pits. Yeah, with all that being said, I'm gonna have to give City Escape a 2 out of 10 on the livability scale. There is a lot of potential here. It's a beautiful, clean city with a ton of awesome places to go. But due to the factors I listed previously that kind of endanger your life on a day-to-day basis, I would recommend not living here. Can't believe this is what our tax dollars are going to. Anyways, that's gonna be it for today's video. If you liked the video, make sure to leave a fat like and subscribe for even more way past cool Sonic content such as this. In the comments below, let me know if you think you'd survive City Escape. Huge thank you to my amazing channel members. And with all that being said, I hope everyone has a fantastic day. Peace.